Yu-Gi-Oh's final duel is to this day one of the most beloved battles in the entire franchise, and that makes sense as it serves as a beautiful finale to not only our two main leads, but also to the series as a whole. You know, before GX and Dark Side of Dimensions. But recently, I discovered something interesting while watching Little Karibo's newest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged Series. A comment under it which read, Little Karibo acknowledged that it was pretty crappy that the last duel Joey ever got was a loss to set up the villain, who Yugi never even duels. And I fully agree with that. Joey was a massive part of the series, so sending him off with a loss didn't really sit right with me. That's when I got an idea. What if every main character got their own ceremonial duel? What matchups could possibly help elevate both participants just like it did for Yugi and Atem? And that's how I ended up with a list of 9 awesome finale duels that I feel could have really been a great send-off to every character. But before we get to sending off anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. So let's start at the beginning with Joey. Who would be his perfect final opponent? Well, unlike the other duels on this list, Joey already had his perfect finale duel against Grandpa. Because if you don't remember, all the way back in episode 2, Grandpa was the one who taught Joey how to become a better duelist in the first place. So, seeing Joey defeat and officially surpass him was a great finale to his character arc. Unfortunately, the show had a villain to build up, so that didn't last. Seriously, this guy already OTK'd Rex and Weevil before this. You didn't need to bring Joey down too. Just have it so that Siegfried, the moment Joey makes a comeback, blacks out the surrounding cameras and hacks into Joey's duel disc to automatically drop his life points to 0. This not only protects Joey's reputation, as I don't think anyone would count this as a legitimate loss, but it also shows that Siegfried is truly on Kaiba's level when it comes to technology. Sorry, tangent over, I just felt like that was something I needed to get off my chest. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Grandpa would have been totally the perfect final opponent for Joey, and Siegfried does not count. Now for the remaining 8, it'll be the duels that I like the least to the ones I like the most. So starting at the bottom, we have number 8. Ishizu versus Odeon. Now don't get me wrong, Odeon and Ishizu are definitely two of Yu-Gi-Oh's better duelists, and a match between them and their unorthodox strategies would be pretty cool to see. But the main reason I put this match at the bottom is just because Odeon and Ishizu don't really talk all that much. Sure, they have the same goal of trying to protect Merrick in their own way, but they don't really seem to be all that concerned for each other, which is weird when you remember that they're adopted siblings, so it just kind of feels like a missed opportunity. Number 7. Taya versus Rebecca. Now I feel like Rebecca being Taya's final duel makes sense for a couple reasons. The first one obviously to come to mind is their shared crush on Yugi, but aside from that, they both do show that they genuinely respect each other on a few occasions. Maybe you could write something about Taya wanting to become better duel monsters in order to impress Yugi, and Rebecca offers to teach her, if only to boss her around. The reason this isn't higher on the list is because while I do enjoy their dynamic, neither character is really moving the needle when it comes to the hype factor. Like, it would be interesting to put Taya's undefeated streak on the line, but it's not really necessary. Number 6. Tristan versus Serenity. When I said all the main characters, I meant all the main characters. And honestly, Serenity seems like a really fitting final opponent for him. He was the one who picked up Serenity for Joey during Battle City. He helped and even sacrificed himself for her during their duel against Nesbit, and it's heavily stated that he has a crush on her. You could easily write a scenario where Serenity tries to get better at duel monsters so she can duel Joey, and Tristan, even though he's horrible, would still be happy to help her learn and grow as a duelist. It's nothing high stakes, but I'd still say it's a cute duel nonetheless. Number 5. Duke versus Pegasus. Now this just seems like a beautiful disaster waiting to happen. Toons versus Dice. Creator versus creator. And it's not the most random thing in the world because it's well established that Duke has a very high amount of respect for Pegasus, as he's the one who helped him spread Dungeon Dice monsters all across the globe. This could even be a public duel that's used to advertise something like, more duel monsters are being brought over to Dungeon Dice monsters, or something like that. Number 4. Rex versus Weevil. This is a duel that was destined to happen ever since episode 2. These dumbasses have been by each other's side whether they liked it or not. And if I was the one writing the duel, there's no doubt in my mind that Rex should kick this little parasite's ass. Because people actually like Rex, and he actually has some redeeming qualities unlike Weevil. So seeing Rex finally be able to leave Weevil behind while paying him back for their first duel would just be pure satisfaction. Also, it would be Rex's only real win, which in my opinion makes it even better. Number 3. Seto Kaiba versus Mokuba Kaiba. Okay, hear me out. I know Mokuba is not a duelist. I know his only duel was a no contest with Atem in Duelist Kingdom. I know most of the time the main thing he does is get kidnapped and Seto has to go save him. And that's why it would be a perfect extension of his character to challenge Seto to a duel. Look, I know I've already used this scenario twice already, but you can't tell me Mokuba, brother of one of the greatest duelists in the entire world, wouldn't try his hand at the game his brother is so fond of. Look, I'm not saying Mokuba has to beat Seto or anything. I'm just saying, without using other characters and robbing them of their ceremonial duels, who is really left for Seto to duel? Espa? Mako? Esteemed movie star Jean-Claude Magnum? None of those guys would really give much in terms of emotional weight or dueling ability. But Mokuba? He is someone who's been sidelined the entire series. Someone who could theoretically try learning to duel to make sure that he never feels powerless again. Just like his big brother. Number 2, Bakura vs. Merrick. Alright, before any of you whip out your thumbs and start typing, "Oh, Bakura vs. Merrick already happened and Merrick won." First of all, I'm not talking about Yami Bakura versus Yami Merrick, I'm talking about regular Bakura versus Merrick. And secondly, shut up. Now, the reason I put these two together is because although they don't share a lot of time with each other, they both have something that connects them on a deeper level. That being their shared histories with the Millennium items, as they were both taken over by their darker counterparts. You could easily write a situation where they could try bonding with each other due to their shared trauma and try to find a way to move on. After all, if anyone would know about the pain of losing yourself to the darkness, it would be these two. And even if you're not fully sold on that explanation, the duel itself without Ra's interference would certainly be something cool to watch. Number 1. Mai versus Bandit Keith. Probably not the two characters you were expecting to top this list. This is absolutely a duel I would have loved to have seen, and I feel like it was a damn shame we didn't get it. Because if you think about it, these two have a very similar history. Both suffered loss after an encounter with the final villain of their arcs, and the next major time we see them, they are under the control of a secret organization. As well, although both eventually break free, neither are given a satisfying conclusion to their story. Mai just rides off into the sunset, promising a reconciliation we never see, and Keith just runs away terrified. And I feel like a duel between these two could help both of them be able to move on from their past traumas, at least a little. And it's not like Bandit Keith is a completely irredeemable character either. Yu-Gi-Oh! R literally brings him back to life to duel Joey again, and by the end of it, Keith's story is left ambiguous with Joey offering to duel him again once Keith lets go of his anger. So something similar with Mai, who's also had a lot of rage over not feeling strong enough, seems to me at least to be a fantastic way to wrap up both their stories and thus this list. But if you want to know even more about Mai's tragic downfall, I've already made a pretty good video about it, if you're interested of course.